Entry Media would hope that the new intro, and welcome to my review for Man of Steel. Here's my ticket to confirm it, there you go. I watched this film yesterday on the 15th. It is yet to come out in some countries, so there will be no spoilers in this review, I promise. And what can I say? Yes, this film was pretty awesome. I think it was a really well done origin story, a different take, a different idea of the actual Superman world. And it did something very, very unique, and it brought it open, it made it more organic, it, expanded the universe more than just a simple kind of glass planet. They opened it up, made it bigger and better, and I really like what they did with the Superman character. They really brought him to life in this movie, and with the challenges and the difficulty and the decisions this character had to make as he's journeying through the actual movie. So I really, really enjoy what this movie had to offer, and I think it was a really well done, fresh reboot take on the Superman world in a sense, and I think it was done really, really well. Some people would disagree upon this for sure. There's been a lot of controversy lately about people liking this, people disliking it for this and odd reasons. We'll get to that in a minute, but let's talk about Man of Steel. Why did you break up the sun? So Man of Steel is directed by Zack Snyder, who brought you Watchmen, 300 Sucker Punch. It is from the producer Christopher Nolan, who did the Dark Knight Trilogy, and we have the amazing composer known as Hans Zimmer to do the scoring from this movie, along with an amazingly brilliant cast, brought Superman back to life from Warner Bros. Basement. And the storyline for me I felt was very well paced from start to finish. I felt they spent a really good amount of time on actual Krypton. They actually explored the actual world, the actual history and the culture, and it was very, alien-esque kind of world, and it was more than just a simple kind of glass planet like the first Superman movie. It was so much more than that. They managed to spend some time on the actual planet and actually observe this culture and this world, the creatures and the technology, and this kind of the political debate upon the actual planet and who they are and what they do as an actual species. And it was very interesting. I felt the opening, I think it was a good 15 odd minutes or so, 15-20 minutes or so, actually spending time on the Krypton. I felt it was done really, really well, and they actually absorbed enough of that world. I felt it's one of the strongest points of the movie, and it's setting the groundwork of this origin story for this version of Superman. And of course, Jor-El sends Kal-El to Earth to become something much greater than this planet. They have changed the actual origin story and how they actually adapted it, but some of the actual key things, like the idea like he's sending off to Earth, him becoming this idea of Superman, all that type of stuff, it's still very similar. It's still the same type of concept, just a little bit different in place. It's just changed and tweaked. It was done really, really well, and I really appreciate this kind of version, this kind of origin of Superman, how he kind of existed. And I really like what was going on in the actual Krypton, the idea of predestined lives, since kind of manufactured births in a sense. Kal-El was the first natural birth of the Krypton's history, and I really like the idea that General Zod is not like that. Everyone has kind of a preset destiny and what society kind of tells them to be, like a warrior or worker or a mother in a sense, kind of thing. And General Zod's one of those kind of people that he is designed, he was purposed, he's destined to protect the people of Krypton, and that's his sole purpose as a general, that's his sole purpose as a warrior, as a leader. And I really like his kind of motivation and his leadership in this kind of movie. It was a very interesting take upon the actual character, which was done really, really well. I really like how they paced the information for the first hour of the actual movie. The idea Kal-El is going from place to place, he's going from job to job, and his true identity, trying to find his heritage and where he belongs in the world. And I really like the idea that you get the idea of isolation, aloneness, and just the idea like you're there, you've got these abilities, you've got this kind of greater purpose, you're from a different world in a sense, but you don't know where you fit in. You want to know your history, you want to know who your identity, and I like the idea of that. And they kind of split that up between certain flashbacks with his father and his mother, and just certain key points from his life. The idea that he's starting to have these abilities, with his X-ray visions and his of course his super speed and all that type of stuff, and he starts to do incredible things, and he's saves people here and there in his flashbacks. His basically father was saying, you can't do that, son, because as a father he is afraid. He absolutely loves his son and he wants to protect him so much, but at the same time he believes that his son is not to reveal himself to the world yet, because he is afraid they would reject him and cast him out. And that's what the movie kind of deals with in the times of themes, the idea of kind of decisions, isolation, what would you do if you had these abilities, what would you do if you had these decisions. And I really as an actual audience member, I can relate to the actual character a hell of a lot more than I did with the other 3 movies. And of course, eventually, you just find out who he is and his history, and you know where he's from, and he meets his kind of like a hologram version of his father, and he finds out, you know, what he was meant for and what the true limit of his power is. And I really like how they didn't kind of focus upon the certain scenes, especially when he gets his suit. They didn't spend like, you know, 5 minutes going like dun 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 of the suit like they did with the other movies. It's cool, the suit's awesome, it's a very iconic piece and famous piece of the actual Superman, of course, and it's a badass, by the way. This suit design is seriously awesome. Really like the new changes of the actual suit. But it just happens to be a suit that he wears, you know. It wasn't like, it doesn't need to be glowed upon 5 minutes, it doesn't need to be, you know, massively highlighted. This is the suit that you were meant to wear, son. This is a suit that you can, you know, inspire other people. This is the symbol of hope, and I like the idea of that. And I really like when he starts to try and learn to fly, and the excitement in his face was like, holy shit. Because when he starts to fly, he starts like smiling and going, wow, kind of thing, and you know, he starts to really enjoy and love it, and that makes him more connected. And again, it makes him more connectable, it makes him more human, because if I find out one day that I could fly, it's pretty fucking awesome at the end of the day, and it makes him like more human in that aspect. You know, he's not just like, oh, I can fly, I can do all these things super easy because I'm invincible, I'm an invincible god in a sense. You know, he is learning, he is trying to adapt his abilities, and I like the idea of that. And now, Henry Cavill, if I said that correctly, plays, of course, Clark Kent in Superman. I thought he did a really fantastic performance in this movie. He stayed true to the Christopher Reeve's performance, at the same time bringing his own kind of touch, you know, his own kind of spin upon the character. And I felt he did a really fantastic job, and I felt his performance was really well done. And he's a Brit as well, which makes it even more better. Also, Michael Shannon in this movie also did General Zod. He did a really good performance also. He's a very interesting actor. He brings a very different kind of take upon General Zod that I haven't seen before between, you know, the Superman movies and the Smallville series. He's a bit more military. He's kind of like a predestined about him. The idea of like, he will do anything for his people, in the sense that for the greater good. He's kind of like one of those people that believes that kind of the purest bloodline, and he believes that, you know, only the best can survive, and you know, I will lead everybody into my kind of glory and greatness in a sense. And he's basically just power hungry. He's just insane, and he even says like, you know, I will slaughter everybody, I will do everything in my power, no matter who stands in my way, to get what I wanted, for the goodness, for the greater good of my people, in the sense. And I really like his motivation for the actual film, and he just like, he's one of those people that you cannot reason with. He will just be a blind, he basically will kill you. If you can't reason with, he will just basically fine, you know, he's one of those people. History's taught us anything, people like that don't last very long. I wish. We've also credited this movie playing Jor-El, and he wasn't massively in this movie. He's kind of a small role, which is understandable considering that, you know, he is dead, and it's not exactly a spoiler because he was dead in the original comics and he was dead. He's the father figure of his son, and he inspires him to do good things, and he tells him the knowledge of his people and that type of stuff. And I really liked his performance. He actually has some pretty decent action scenes. I really liked him the most in the opening of the movie, the idea of him on Krypton and him as a words of wisdom and just trying to, you know, save his people. I like the idea that he wants the best for his son, and I really like the conversations between, not just him and Superman, between Lois Lane as well, and just how he interacts. It's really well done. Kevin Costner also in this movie plays Jonathan Kent, who of course he is the adoptive father, and he plays a really good role also, and I really like his character. Again, very small role, he appears in flashbacks, but some of the scenes were really, really fantastic, and I felt, wow, did a really fantastic job there, and he actually has some good substance and good conversations between those characters. We also have Amy Adams in this movie playing Lois Lane, and damn, she is hot. Also a really good actor in this movie also. She plays a really good role as Lois Lane, much better than the 80s Superman movies. Now, the action scenes in this movie I felt was really, really fantastic. I felt it was the right amount of action with the right amount of story. It was basically what Superman Returns should have been, in the idea of like enough substance, enough story, backing up with enough action between, you know, because it is Superman after all. You do not want Superman, you know, just flying around doing basically nothing in a sense. You want him to have enemies, you want him to have opponents, challenges, and you want him to kick shit into something. And that's exactly what he does in this movie. The action is done really, really well. It's from the director of Watchmen and 300, so yeah, you can expect some really fantastic, visually impressive action scenes. A lot of people, especially some reviewers, have said that the action is too much or the action wasn't good enough, and it's like, have you not seen the movie? It's a Superman movie. There is lots of action. It's a Superman movie. There is plenty of action in this movie, and there's plenty of story in this movie. I can't understand why people, there's too much action in this movie. There was just about enough, there was enough action in this movie, and there was enough story and substance which makes you have the best of both worlds. Not like Transformers where it's just nothing but, you know, impressive action but story's a bit weak. You know, this has the best of both worlds, and it does a really, really fantastic job. So overall, Man of Steel definitely delivers and definitely impressed me, and I felt it was a really well done original take upon the origin story, and I really liked the idea what they did with the universe, and they really expanded it, opened it up to possibilities. There's so many great villains out there that the actual Superman universe has not seen on the big screen yet, and I really love to see what they can do and bring this universe to life. Now, there's already been a lot of controversy in this movie. A lot of people did not like it. Some people didn't like it because of the origin story and how they got rid of the crystals and how they got rid of the kryptonite and that type of stuff. I'm perfectly honest, I felt it didn't make the movie any less good or any less bad, in all fairness. Completely honest, I felt, you know, I watched the movie from start to finish, and I feel like, yeah, there had to be a kryptonite, there had to be crystals and that. Didn't need to be. And I really like what the changes and I really like what they did with the movie. And just like to point out as an actual fact, the original action comics of Superman never had the actual crystals or the kryptonite in it. So the actual 80s Superman movie brought that element to it, of that type of world of crystals and type of, you know, glass type world. Some people really do not like change, and it's really, really annoyed me that people do not like this movie, and it's a real deep shame. I would recommend you go and see this movie with an open opinion, see it differently, open up to a brand new world of, you know, possibilities, you know, take on board the new changes, but at the same time they haven't completely ruined anything. If you can get on board Batman Begins and the changes they did with that movie, you can get on board with Man of Steel for sure. So I don't know what people are talking about in terms of, like, you know, it wasn't very good, or they didn't like the change, or they didn't like the action. The movie was done very, very well. The only thing I would say is the trailer makes it out to be something that it is not. That's the only complaint I would give it, in all fairness. But the film was definitely well done. It definitely delivers big time, and I cannot wait to see it for a sequel. So, fantastic work, really great film. Definitely would buy it on Blu-ray. So that's my opinion on Man of Steel. I hope you enjoyed watching this review. Have you seen it? What did you think? Comment down below, learn some new opinions. So we don't actually do. Signing out.